When the Avengers operation causes collateral damage, political pressure grows to establish a system of responsibility. Team members are now quite divided due to new status quo. Chris Evans, or Captain America, advocates for superhero continued autonomy to protect citizens from oppressive governments. But Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr., who is favor of regulation, has strong objective. Hawkeye and Black Widow have to choose a side as the argument turns into all-out rivalry. The character that played in this movie scene, which specifically the movie is Captain America Civil War, and the scene when the Avengers have a debate regarding about the Sokovia Accords. The characters were Captain America or Steve Rogers, Tony Stark or Iron Man, Natasha Romanoff, Sam Wilson, Rudy Rhodes, Wanda Maximoff, and Vision.
Secretary Ross has a Congressional Medal of Honor, which is one more than you have.
So let's say we agree to this thing. How long is it going to be before they LoJack us like a bunch of common criminals?
117 countries want to sign this. 117, Sam, and you're just like, no, it's cool, we got
How
it.
long are you going to play both sides?
I have an equation.
Oh, this will clear it up.
In the 8 years since Mr. Stark announced himself as Iron Man, the number of known enhanced persons has grown exponentially. And during the same period, the number of potentially world-ending events has risen at a commensurate rate.
He's saying it's our fault?
I'm saying there may be a causality. Our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict. And conflict breeds catastrophe. Oversight. Oversight is not an idea that can be dismissed out of hand.
Boom.
Tony, you're being uncharacteristically non-hyperverbal.
It's because he's already made up his mind.
Oh, you know me so well. Actually, I'm nursing an electromagnetic headache. That's what's going on, Cap. It's just pain. It's discomfort. Who's putting coffee grounds in the disposal? Am I running a bed and breakfast for biker gang? Oh, that's Charles Spencer, by the way. He's a great kid. Computer engineering degree, 3.6 GPA. Had a floor-level gig, an Intel plan for the fall. But first, he wanted to put a few miles on his soul before he parked it behind a desk, see the world, maybe be of service. Charlie didn't want to go to Vegas or Fort Lauderdale, which is what I would do. He didn't go to Paris or Amsterdam, which sounds fun. He decided to spend his summer building sustainable housing for the poor, guess where? Sokovia. He wanted to make a difference, I suppose. I mean, we won't know because we dropped a building on him while we were kicking ass. There's no decision-making process here. We need to be put in check. Whatever form that takes, I'm game. If we can't accept limitations, we're boundaryless, we're no better than the bad guys.
Tony, if someone dies on your watch, you don't give up.
Who said we're giving up?
We are for not taking responsibility for our actions. This document just shifts the blame.
Sorry, Steve, that is dangerously arrogant. This is the United Nations we're talking about. It's not the World Security Council. It's not SHIELD. It's not Hydra.
No, but it's run by people with agendas, and agendas change.
That's good. That's why I'm here. When I realized what my weapons were capable of in the wrong hands, I shut it down, stopped manufacturing.
Tony, you chose to do that. If we sign this, we surrender our right to choose. What if this panel sends us somewhere we don't think we should go? What if there's somewhere we need to go and they don't let us? We may not be perfect, but the safest hands are still our own.
If we don't do this now, it's going to be done to us later. That's the fact. That won't be pretty.
You're saying they'll come for me.
We would protect you.
Maybe Tony's right. If we have one hand on the wheel, we can still steer. If we take it off...
Aren't you the same woman who told the government to kiss her ass a few years ago?
I'm reading the terrain. We have made some very public mistakes. We need to win their trust back.
Focus up. I'm sorry, did I just mishear you, or did you agree with me?
Oh, I want to take it back.
No,
now.
you can't retract it. Thank you. Unprecedented. Okay, case closed. I win.
I have to go.
Hi everyone. Now I'll be explaining about the synopsis of the scene. The scene that we have chose from our movie analysis is the scene from the Captain America Civil War 2016. Our scene shows the discussion among the Avengers regarding the Sokovian Accord debate. In this discussion, we can see that Tony Stark and Steve Rogers have difference in opinions about whether to accept the terms and conditions set by the Secretary Ross and the other 117 countries that have signed the Sokovian Accord. Secretary Ross told the Avengers that 117 countries have voted for the Avengers to step down from being a private organization, and they should operate under the supervision of the United Nations, UN. According to Secretary Ross, the Avengers have operated at full powers for years, and now the world can no longer tolerate it because of the damages that they have caused in New York, Washington, D.C., and Sokovia. Although the Avengers have risked their life to save people, some think that the Avengers are responsible for the deaths. Steve Rogers refuses to accept the Sokovian Accord because he doesn't want to surrender to the right, because they might lose the right to choose when it comes to saving people. He doesn't want to do that because it feels like it's very political. Whereas Tony Stark insisted everyone to accept the terms and conditions set by Secretary Ross and the balanced 117 countries. So this will show that the Avengers are actually ready to compromise and reassure their noble objective for the sake of people's safety.
Hello, my name is Matthew Evan and my metric number is 268231. Now I want to explain about the space and territory. In general, the film serves as a metaphor for personal distance. It is believed that the distance is between 1.5 and 4 feet from one to another body. Throughout many scenes, the movie's characters are positioned quite close together while they exchange dialogue. Based on the seating arrangement, it shows in the minutes 0.11 until 0.18 when Sam Wilson, or right-hand man, is standing beside Captain America or the leaders of the Avengers. Usually, important people is expected to be seated closer to the leader. The third one, based on who sits or stands next to whom, in the minutes of 2.48 until 2.53, Tony Stark or Iron Man stands beside James Rhodes, his right-hand man. Usually, dominant people who assert their personal space sit or stand next to whom they like. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is ATHIYAH with matic number 267018, and I will continue with artifacts and object. This scene taken from minutes 1.12 until 1.57 shows that this is an informal discussion because the way that Tony Stark, or we can call it as Iron Man, talks while walking to grab a drink in a shin shows that the meeting or conversation was informal. And another example shows this meeting was informal is the sitting position of all members. They didn't arrange the sitting position, which means they can sit wherever they want. And another example is the scene taken from minutes 0.5 until 0.40. It shows that Captain America still reading his book when Vision, Sam Wilson, and James Rhodes were talking. And the last example that shows this meeting was informal is in minute 3.47 until 3.54. That Captain America leaves the meeting without explanation after receiving a message that tells him about his wife was dead in her sleep.
I have an equation.
My name is this will clear it up.
In the 8 years since Mr. Stark announced himself as
Now
Iron
I
Man,
will
the number
continue
of
our
known
presentation
enhanced
by talking
persons
about
has grown
communication.
exponentially.
As you
And
can see,
during the
from the
same
second
period,
of 16
the number of
until
potentially
54,
world-ending events
vision is
has risen
interfering
at a
the debate of
commensurate rate.
Samuelson
Are you saying
and
it's our
Brody.
fault?
He is
I'm
trying to
saying there
pull
may
down
be
the
a
situation
causality.
with his thought. On this scene,
Our very
on this
strength
scene too,
invites
we can
challenge.
see that
Challenge
Vision giving
incites
his idea
conflict.
with a
Conflict
critical tone that highlight
breeds
oversight
catastrophe.
is not an idea that can
Oversight.
dismiss out of hand.
Oversight is not an idea that can be dismissed out
Hi.
of hand.
On
Oversight
this
is not an
second of
idea that can
56
be
until
dismissed out of
58,
hand.
we can see
Boom.
that Roddy Rhodes getting high
Oversight
by
is not
just
an idea
hearing
that can be dismissed out of
statement
hand.
from the Vision
Boom.
that support his point.
Oversight is not
After
an idea that can be dismissed out
hearing
of hand.
what Vision
Boom.
has said, Roddy
Oversight
Rhodes
is not an
directly
idea that
said
can be dismissed
boom
out of hand.
to the Sam
Boom.
to show that he is right about
Oversight
his
is not an idea that can
justification
be dismissed out of hand.
about
Boom.
his point.
It's because he's already made
In
up
this
his mind.
scene,
Oh, you know me so well.
from 105,
Actually, I'm nursing an
after Tony
electromagnetic
get
headache.
question from Natasha,
That's what's going on,
Steve
Caps. Just
Rogers
Because
answered
he's already
the
made up his
question
mind.
by
Oh, you know me
saying
so
the
well.
wrong thing about Tony. It makes
Actually, I'm
Tony
nursing an electromagnetic
acting
headache.
sarcastic
That's
towards
what's going on,
Steve
Caps. Just
and
It's
saying,
because he's already made
"Oh,
up his mind.
you know
Oh, you
me
know me
so
so well.
long, Cap." But the truth is,
Actually, I'm nursing an electromagnetic
Steve
headache.
saying
That's what's going on, Caps. Just
not
It's because he's
the
already made
right
up his
thing
mind.
Oh,
about
you know me so
Tony.
well.
Still see her.
In the minutes of
Take it off.
Aren't you the same woman who
3.26,
told the
Natasha
government to
just
kiss her
support
ass a
Tony's
few years
statement,
ago?
I'm just waiting the terrain.
and Samuelson
We have
just
made
cut off her talk
some very
by
public
mocking her
mistakes.
and questioned
We
her.
need to win their
Aren't
trust
you the
back.
same
Focus
person
up.
who
I'm
told the
sorry, did I
government
just
to kiss his
miss?
ass a
Still
few
see
years
her.
ago? That
Take it
what
off.
Aren't you the same woman who told the
Samuelson
government to kiss
questioned
her
to
ass a few
Natasha.
years ago?
I'm
This
just
is because
I'm reading the terrain.
Samuelson
We have
disagreed
made
with Tony's
some very
solution
public
and
mistakes.
unwanted to follow
We need to
Tony
win their
as the
trust
leader.
back.
Focus up. I'm sorry, did I just
And
miss?
Still see her.
in this scene too,
Take it off.
Aren't you
we
the
can
same
see
woman
that
who told the government to kiss
Natasha
her ass a few years ago?
I'm just I'm reading the terrain. We have made
Natasha
some very
emphasized her
public
point
mistakes.
by
We need to
lowering
win their
her
trust
voice
back.
Focus up. I'm
and
sorry, did I
saying,
just miss?
Still
"We
see
have
her.
made some
Take it off.
Aren't you the same woman who
very
told the government to
public
kiss her ass
mistakes,
a few years
so
ago?
I'm just
we need to win their
I'm
trust
reading the
back."
terrain. We have
In the timestamp of 0.05 minutes or 5 seconds, we can see the facial expression of Tony Stark that explained that the disagreement in this face by giving a don't care face expression, like we can see in that picture below. In the minutes of 3 and 2 seconds, the face of Natasha Romanoff gives an expression of a disagreement, same as in the minute of 3.313 or 3 minute 13 seconds. Steve Rogers gave the same expression. In the timestamp of 3 minutes and 41 seconds, Tony Stark gives a body gesture of a disagreement with Natasha Romanoff by pointing out his finger. In the timestamp of 13 seconds, we can indicate that Samuelson gives a crossing hand gesture that indicates a disagreement of Roddy Rhodes and then an argument that against him. In the timestamp of 18 seconds, Vision mediates the disagreement or the debate between Roddy and Sam by giving a posture of mediating. In the timestamp of 3 minutes and 51 seconds, Steve Rogers gives a facial and posture expression of being fed up and had enough of arguments with the arguments, of course, and leaves the discussion that was held in the room.